Hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist Morning Show. It is Thursday, the 27th of August, 2020. I am your host, the amazing Super Chris. How are you doing? We are one day away from the Friday. We're like this far, just like this far. There's like the hump day was there, and then there's right there. We're right there to Friday, and I am ready for Friday. I've got my co-host Christian Watkins joining me this morning, and John Funk. We're gonna. It's like a cacophony of co-hosts, and we're going to talk some RNC craziness right after this. Are you feeling the world is leaving you behind? Do you look at all the pseudoscience, rumors, and wild speculation on the internet and wonder, why can't I do that? Well, friend, you can. We can help you. We are Conspirowin. You may be thinking, but my idea of the center of the earth being made of ice is far-fetched. In a world where people believe windmills cause cancer, we say no dream is too big. Listen to the voices no one else can hear. Team up with Conspirowin. All right, so hello. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. I've got my co-host with me this morning, Christian Watkins. Hi, Christian. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks again for having me on, as always.
You're welcome. You have a good week so far?
Yeah, it's been pretty solid. I'm a little tired, but other than that, it's pretty good.
Getting old, are you? Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I've also got my my Wednesday co-host John Funk is joining us this morning as well. Did I forget to pull John up? Look at me. There we go. Hey, John.
Hey, now there we go. I'm doing pretty well this morning.
Good deal. Do you? I was going to ask if you had a good week. I just saw you yesterday, so I guess you had a good night. You're still with. Yeah, awesome. I want to take a moment before we get into this, because this could be a very interesting and passionate subject. I want to take a moment and say hello to everybody in the chat, the damnation. Good morning, everybody. Derek Cruz, Godless Granny. Good morning. How are you, Miss Kelly? Uribench, Oz. Hey, Oz. How you doing? I'm my Monday co-host. The Rage is here. Hopefully see you tomorrow, Rage. You're going to come hang out tomorrow with us. We're going to do the thing. I think you might be interested in the topic. I'll send you a thing. Good morning, everybody. Nice to have you with us. And also to all the people on Facebook who watch, and the people listening on the live stream over on the Daily Atheist Morning Show podcast. So good morning to everybody. I hope you're ready for Friday, because we're getting there to Friday. You're ready for the weekend, all that. Howdy. So, Christian, did you get the opportunity to watch have you seen any of the RNC craziness that's going on?
Oh, yeah.
I see. Yeah, John said he was going to study it particular last night. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah.
Just to get started.
I watched a compilation of the speakers. I just don't know what to say about it. Mike Pence gave a speech, but it seems like they're deflecting the responsibility on China for the virus and everything. So it just seems like it's the same mess that it's been for a long time. I'm not sure that I saw anything that caught me as part of any new message, and I didn't really get the vibe that they have a plan to get anything right. So yeah, it seemed like it was the same bullshit to me.
Yeah. And you, Christian, what are your thoughts?
Well, I would echo that, and I would say, in particular, it seemed to me to be a lot of sneaking in the classic trope that they like to run, which is that the only person capable of solving these problems is Trump, and if you listen to Trump, then your problems will be solved. And it seems like they're making voting for Trump not necessarily a policy decision, but like a life or death matter, and if you don't vote for Trump, the entire country's going to implode. So, and they're making it seem like the opposition is just, seventh circle of hell level craziness. And it seems to me like they're really doing some serious demagoguery, but then also some like cult of personality stuff where if you want to know the truth, come to Trump, and without Trump, you can't know the truth. And it's these sort of psychological manipulation tactics that I see happening from people like Don Jr. and the one individual who was screeching for the whole time. So it seems as though we have an interesting, colorful lineup of speakers in this instance. But yeah, that's my take.
One of the things I've noticed is that there's a new player in town. I hate to say it in that fashion, but we had the gentleman, I'm sorry, I forgot his name. I barely remember my own name, who got shot in the back by the police officers.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had that happen what day? That happened the first day of the Republican National Convention.
Jacob Blake was that guy's name.
Thank you. And I don't think they have, Have they acknowledged it at all? I mean, they're like, there's unrest going over there in that town, and we're going to send in troops to suppress the unrest. Have they at all gone, man, listen, it was wrong. That cop should not have shot that dude 7 times in the back. Have anybody seen any of that?
Well, look, I'm 30
RNC?
minutes. I'm 30 minutes from Kenosha, where it happened. So
Okay.
I've seen a ridiculous amount of outrage, especially in my local community. And it like I said, it doesn't surprise me that the RNC didn't say anything, because the RNC is tremendously good at making issues that don't matter the focus of the election.
Yeah,
And
it's fake news. Ironically, it's fake news.
And then taking issues that do matter and making them not part of the actual conversation.
Right. And well, you see here, the Rage points out now the right is saying that Blake had a knife attacking the police, but in the video, and see, I've heard that he may have had a knife in the vehicle somewhere. Doesn't matter. You still don't shoot the guy in the back 7 times. I mean, It just doesn't matter. The whole case should not have happened. And so what happens with this guy? This guy is the guy. He was there breaking up a fight. We saw the video about how the policeman followed him around, shot him in the back as he was getting into his car. He probably should have. I don't know what he should have done. I have no idea what happened up to that point, though. But, shooting somebody in the back completely. And now I've seen memes on the internet about, like this guy's criminal record and how he's got pictures of him on the internet holding a gun. That doesn't matter. I mean, now, last night, was it last night, night before, we had the guy kill people, the kid, 17-year-old kid, Kyle something, go around shooting people. Now what are they reporting on the news on that? Is the news actually going back and showing his arrest history and showing pictures of him playing with guns?
No.
How are they portraying that? No, I don't think they are. Probably.
Yeah, no, it's an intriguing concept. What I would say is, it seems like people tend to forget that even if this individual, Jacob Blake, was a multiple time felon and had just this rap sheet a mile long, the police aren't supposed to kill you, even if you're guilty.
Right.
If you could be guilty of every crime imaginable, and the police are still not given license to kill you, that's a judiciary process, or at least it should be, right? The police shouldn't be able to exercise vigilante justice and say, this person has 3 felonies, I'm going to take the shot.
Yeah.
Right. Well, in many of these cases, they don't even know the guy's got felons. They don't know the guy. There's just this guy there. They have no idea about him. I saw the one video of the cop shooting down the black gentleman as he ran away. Have you seen that video?
I feel like there's so many that could fit into that category.
Yeah, good point. Sorry, bad. Yeah, just go ahead, John.
One of the themes that have come up is that the police could use better training so that they know what to do rather than just shoot somebody. If that's the only tool you've got, then that's all you've got. But it seemed like some jiu-jitsu and grappling skills would have really worked well in the scenario with Jacob Blake, where they could have subdued him. There's no reason that multiple police officers, men, couldn't have managed this guy in some other fashion than with what happened. So, I mean, even if it were a justified shooting, okay, it should never have got that far. So maybe I'm jumping ahead or I'm off here a little bit, but I was just really discouraged by what I saw there with the lack of an appropriate response by the police.
Have you guys seen Tucker Carlson's, I believe it's Tucker Carlson's response to the kid, Kyle?
I have not.
Doing the shooting. I mean, he's like, he's saying something to the effect of, things are getting pretty out of hand whenever young children are having to go take it upon themselves to be patriots and protect businesses. That's not the way you portray this publicly. That's not what you do. These people are publicly instilling more violence. They're really, I want to say it, they're trying to start a war. Tucker Carlson, what's that blonde bitch's name? Pardon my language. You know who I'm talking about. The conservative nutbag. The one who's always rail thin. Looks like Iggy Pop.
What's her name?
Kellyanne Conway. I probably got that wrong. It's the only name that came up.
No, it's not Kellyanne Conway. It's somebody else. Ann Coulter, thank you, the rage. She's out there spewing love for this guy too, and she said something like, I don't know. Maybe she didn't. Maybe there's propaganda on both sides. A lot's happened. I've been, I actually had to rebuild everything yesterday, and I haven't really been paying attention. I just know that the topics of what's going on, and do they really say this stuff? It would not surprise me for Tucker Carlson to say something like that. It would not surprise me at all for Ann Coulter to say something like that. Go ahead.
It seems like the Trump administration isn't really concerned with trying to win over voters at this point. It seems like they're just trying to rile up their own base, the people that they've already got, to make sure that they get out there to those polls, because you would think that there would be an inspiring message for the future, a realistic plan that would come out by the Trump administration about how we're going to address the next 4 years and resolve some of these problems. But I don't see that. I see deflecting of blame and just nonsense. So I don't know. And Joe Biden scares me as well, but good God, that's all we've got. So I guess that's what we're going to have to do to get Trump out of there. So yeah.
Well, Trina DeLuca makes a point. And I want to say this about conservatives. It's not all conservatives are the same, just like not all Democrats are the same. There's different levels of crazy amongst both sides, I would have to say. Anyway, she makes a good point here. She say people say if he complied with police and got on the ground, he'd be alive. Now, that's something you would expect a conservative to say. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong. Now, she also continues, really, look at George Floyd. He did comply, was handcuffed, I want to add to her thoughts, on the ground on his face, complying when he died. So I think it's hard to say there's any kind of win here for this gentleman at all. I tell you, it's just, I can understand the difference. But when I was a kid, I remember being afraid of the police because I was, I tell you what my fear was. I was poor, always poor, and I couldn't afford insurance on my car. And I was afraid that if they pulled me over and asked for my insurance, I would get a ticket and they would tow my car. That was the extent of my fear. I lived in fear of the police. I hated to go in the store. I hated to go anywhere. I hated to go, especially long distance. I made sure all my lights were working. I tried not to speed, and stuff, because I was afraid of the police, because I might get a ticket and get my junky car taken away. Yeah. And I understand why these people, after watching, I didn't pay no attention. I had my own world going on. And I look up and this is going on and this is going on. We've got this guy who got shot in the back. We've got this other guy who got killed in police custody while surrendering to the police. We've got signs, pictures of people that I have seen on the internet. I've seen these memes of photographs. There are obviously photographs of people 50 years ago. Please get the police to stop killing black people. This is not something that just started, to my surprise, right? This is a continuing, ongoing, never-ending, apparently, issue.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Let's say that Joe Biden gets the presidency. Do you think that issues in the way of African-American victimization by the government will get better? Or I'm just curious what you think about that whole issue, because it's certainly nothing is going to improve with Trump. So I'm just curious if we have reason to be optimistic with Biden. What do you think about the future with that?
To be honest, it's not necessarily so much about Biden, is it? It's about all those people around Biden when he comes into power. It's just like Trump. I've said several times, Trump's a moron. He has moments of lucidity. He really does. I watched him the other day. He come out and he spoke. I don't want to say eloquently, but he spoke. But then he would do the things that he's actually vilified for. He would make the racial slur. I'm like, oh man, is the left really portraying him to be kind of a douche that he's not? And then racial slur. I'm like, oh wait, oh yeah, okay, there's that. And then he's all, I'm going to help these people with the fire because the fire is important and California is important. We love everybody. I'm like, wow, is this really Trump? Is he is he really? No, look at this. The left vilifies this guy because here he is. He's going to help. He's going to help California. And then he turns around and says something stupid like, well, if they just voted for me or something. I don't know. I didn't watch any more of it. But I mean, he just turns around and goes from one to the other. And I thought, wow, is he vilifying? And then he turns around and does say he's vilifying. He actually did say something besides calling things a China virus. I just don't watch a lot of Trump. I wanted to watch just to see. I did notice that in the feed I was watching was from some local Washington, D.C. little rinky-dink newspaper. I don't remember what it was. And Jim Acosta was standing up there and they were getting ready for the show. And Jim Acosta started saying things about Trump. And the person who's talking to the people who's watching on the live stream, like me, except for I'm showing my face. This person, you couldn't see his face. You're just seeing the podium while they're talking. You see Jim Acosta. He mutes the stream. He's like, I'm going to mute that while Jim Acosta spews his lies. Yeah. Oh, the irony. It's just, man. So
one of the things that Trump does that I find interesting is when he's giving a speech, it seems like this is the formula that he uses, which is, I've done something fantastic. There's no evidence of what I've done that's fantastic, but I've done something fantastic. And no one gives me enough credit for the thing that I may or may not have done. And therefore the media and everyone who isn't voting for me is against me and you. And that is the formula for his speeches. Seriously, it's that simple.
Yeah, and people buy it. They absolutely love it. Mike Pence did something quite similar when he was talking at the podium last night, where it was a very similar set of circumstances where they had really achieved something fantastic in the first 3 years, and that it was unprecedented, that it was the most progress ever made in the history of our country, and we need another 4 years. So, yeah.
And it's amazing how they'll take pictures and they'll show videos of things that are going on now. Look at this fire over here and these people rioting, and look at this and look at that. Yeah. And they're like, do you want that? That's what you get if you ask for Biden. I'm like, wait, that's actually what you got when you got Trump. And it's not that the people are bad and the people are rioting because the people want free crap. The people are rioting obviously for various reasons, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, that's not, they're painting it as though they're there to. All right, so Trump is the problem. He's the infection. He's the what's causing the infection and everything around it, the swelling and all the pain. He's the thing that if you remove him, a big hunk of the swelling right there would go away. Him and obviously the people that come with him. The swelling would go away. But actually what they're doing is they're going, the swelling is the problem. And this infection is the only thing, this thing that's causing the infection is the only thing that can solve the problem. Does that make sense? Did I do that? I'm okay.
Yeah, you made a good point, Chris, and I want to just jump back here because you talked about the people surrounding Biden would be perhaps a bigger influence than Biden himself. When Trump took over the presidency, he really did something almost impossible to believe when he was selecting people for the cabinet and all these various different positions. He put a businessman and a friend of his in the position of Secretary of State with no experience. And if you know anything about that position, and it's an extremely important and sophisticated position where you're in charge of a lot of militaristic decisions and so on and so forth concerning national security. It's a very important position. And that was so obscene to do something like that. And he knew it was a bad idea and he did it anyway. And he did a lot of stuff like that where he was putting people in that were about as qualified as he was to be the president in these positions. So perhaps that is a point of optimism with Joe Biden that incompetence and dangerous behavior won't be present.
I love that you said that. See, that's something I've maintained. I've said that Putin helped Trump get into office to destroy America. I've said that from the beginning. And then even the Republican Senate now agrees with my assertions based on what Robert Mueller said, blah, blah. You know what I mean? All those things. So Putin puts Trump in things. And you know what Trump did as soon as Trump got in office? He started putting people, like you're saying, Ted Cruz in charge of the Department of Energy. The guy who's been against the Department of Energy. Betsy DeVos, the lady, DeVoe, however you want to say it, the lady who's been against the Department of Education in charge of the Department of Education. I mean, he's done that throughout, as if to destroy every institution of our nation. Another example of that would be, look what he did to the post office, right? He put somebody in there who is absolute contrary to the post office. All their financial interests are contrary to the post office. He puts them in there to destroy the post office. The first thing they start doing is dismantling the post office internal workings so it can't perform, it can't function correctly. And now they're going to start going, oh, look at the post office, is bad, it's bad, it don't work. You know what I mean? They've been doing this forever. So, and that's what he's been doing ever since he took office. He took all those people in place to destroy our nation. And look what we've got. We're this close to civil war. You know, you got this kid walking down the street shooting people because he was kind of told to by all these other people. These liberals are bad. These libtards, these, you know, whatever they call us on the marches, they're bad. And instead of condemning it, the people on the right are lifting this guy up like some kind of hero. That's not good. And you know what'll happen, and I said it here, one of these days, and probably not too far along, one of those right-wing nutbags will take a gun and shoot other right-wing nutbags and pretend it was a person of color who did it, to start some right-wing nutbags shooting into... Absolutely. I've said it. They've done it before. There's a peaceful protest over here. Somebody starts going around breaking out windows, and who do they catch doing it? A white guy. A white racist, supremacist, white nationalist trying to blame it on people of color. You know,
that sounds like a good plot for a novel, what you just described there.
Yeah. Yeah, like, what's that? Oh, man. Blackadder, or, oh, man, one of those shows where there's this, like, underverse, and we're trapped we're like in the Mirror Darkly universe or something, and Trump is one... You know, and everything has gone crazy. But her emails, right? Her emails. You know, kids locked. Who even talks about kids locked in cages no more? Hell, we don't care about kids locked in cages. We got Nazis in the streets over here, and we've got Trump hiring out personal rich person Betsy DeVos's brother's militia to put down riots in Oregon. Right?
Yeah.
What the hell? Election corruption? Who gives a damn about election? Paid off a prostitute or a porn star? Who cares? Who cares? So long ago. I mean, he's got his attorney is in jail for pleading guilty to campaign fraud.
And just to show you how invincible he is, there was actually a 13-year-old girl that came out and said that he raped her on Epstein's Island, and it just like, boom, right out of the way. The media dropped it and nobody cared. So it's like he really has shown to be invincible with a lot of these scandals that would have crushed a mere mortal.
Yeah, of course. And that whole Epstein scandal really got hung up, as it were. But what about the whole lady, Maxwell? I'm sorry, I don't know her name. Miss Lady, Maxine, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Yeah, we know what you're talking about.
If you're watching, I'm sorry. Yeah, what about her? You know, is she going to spill the beans? It'd be wonderful to see her spill some beans. Albinos de Spillos. But I don't know. Does it matter right now? That's one of the small things. Nobody cares right now. You know what they got to care about right now is the riots going on in this place, the riots going in this place, and because those are really bad and they're just destroying our towns. And you need to be afraid. People of color and poor people are coming to get you. Be afraid. Hug your guns. Hug your children. Pray to God. Vote for Trump. Isn't that stupid? But that's what's going on. When you go watch it, that's what's going on. The world is going to shit because of poor and brown people, and we need somebody to protect us, and Trump is the man to do that. That's what I saw when I poked my head in. Instead of going, you know, hey, we actually have serious, complex social issues in our society. Or even going, they could have even led with, call me crazy, but you know, it was unfortunate that individual got shot in the back. There was some complicated problems that need to be dealt with there.
There's
no.
It seems like we just keep taking one step after another toward the fall of the American empire. You know, I've talked about this a bit, and a lot of people think it's absurd that America could experience a civil war or that we could crumble. And I think that I think the kindling is there. You know, we've got a virus going on. we have the police thing going on, and Black Lives Matter, and people are clashing. Like, this is the good beginning of a real big fall. And people say that there are too many rational people that wouldn't stand for that, and I think that that's wrong. I think that we need to make like a giant leap for mankind in the right direction here to try to avoid some kind of catastrophe. I'm worried about that election and what's going to happen if Trump wins. Some people out there are going to be pissed, and it could be the next step. And then if Biden wins, that could be the next step. You know, I don't know what the reaction is going to be, especially if it's a fucked up election where there's problems with the votes, and it's an argument and a struggle, and people are ready to go to war over this election and the vote count. I can see it happening.
Yep. Well, you know, Trump has done a horrendous job in response to this virus. He's done a horrible job driving our country. He's got a tiny percentage of people who believe. I mean, but look at the things he's talking about. He actually said he wanted to shut down the post office to keep people from voting. He literally said that. Now, if you're a conservative or a Democrat and you love our nation and you're a patriot and you actually do really love our Constitution and the nation that we were, you cannot be for that. That's literally out in the open voter suppression. He does not want people to vote. What gives people the right to vote and what does not give people the right to vote? Listen, if somebody on their social media makes a post saying Black Lives Matter and suddenly they've relinquished their vote, their right to vote, then that by that same token, somebody who posts Blue Lives Matter but does not clarify, you know, because I believe police should not be killed either. I don't think police. So to a degree, but Blue Lives Matter that's a job. That's not they can walk away from that at any time. And it's not the good ones. It's the reason why we have a problem with these people is because there's a lot of actual cops out there that are literally murdering people. Now we're catching it on TV, on video. We get to see it now on video. People still don't believe. And it's the people of color who are the problem. And I don't get that. You know, and that's what this Blue Lives Matter. If you're waving the Blue Lives Matter, you're kind of ignoring all the video evidence and all the real lives that are destroyed by the racist jackasses that are really in the police department. You know, so, and yet, who's the problem? As according to the RNC, when we watch this Republican National Convention, they're up there waving their flags. You see the woman up there doing the thing. I think it was Trump Jr.'s wife. Is that right? Girlfriend, brunette lady. I don't know who the hell she is. Up there. I mean, listen to these people. This is pre-World War II Nazi kind of crap. Wouldn't surprise. They've already been packing people into we lost John. John's like, damn this, I'm out of here. They're always Nazis. If you call them Nazis, I'm out. So I think, Christian, are you there?
Yeah, I've been here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just listening to Ranty, Chris. I like taking the back.
I was just kind of going off. Yeah. Well, it's just kind of what's happening in our country. But that's what I see when I tune into all this. That they list these problems that are going on in our nation and act as though they didn't cause them. You know.
So it's definitely an interesting. I think because you hit it on the head. I don't really have much else to say there, but I would agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know what they've got planned going forward. I mean, I guess is tonight that are they doing it all week or is it a 4-night thing? And what's up with them doing it where they're doing it? They're not supposed to do it at the White House. The White House is not the property of. I mean, you know, there's there is this separation. You know, it's like. The Republicans, but that's the whole deal. These are not Republicans. This is the Tea Party. The Tea Party took over the Republicans. Then they got the office, and they don't know nothing about politics, laws, rules, anything. They sit there one right after the other, breaking the Hatch Act. They have no idea. What's the Hatch Act? They don't know. What about the getting rid of his business interests before taking office and all the money, the millions, it surely has to be into the billions now, of dollars that he has made while he's been in office, and the enrichment of his family. How many millions of dollars has his family made? You know, in the beginning, they openly complained about, or they openly said things, well, we're just doing this and we're just making money, you know, buy my purses, stuff like that. But now they're going, well, we're inhibiting the vote. And how can you as a Republican, as a real live conservative American Republican patriot, support anybody who openly wants to not allow true Americans to vote? And I mean, we've all complained about that. That's what the Conservative Party does. They do that all the time, shutting down voting polls and all this stuff. They'll leave all the voting polls open in a Republican district and close as many as they can as a district of color, or, and then they gerrymander. They've been gerrymandering for years and complaining that the liberals and the people of color, or whatever, the people on the left are hacking the vote, or what is it? Where election fraud, voting fraud, mail fraud. It's just ridiculous. The amounts when you compare the two. I've argued with friends before in the past. They're like, but money for the poor people, they just take up $10 billions of dollars. I'm like, yeah, well, you're mad because poor people are getting billions of dollars. And Exxon alone is getting 100 times more than we give poor people in alms. And you're mad at the poor people and not Exxon. Anyway, sorry, ranty Chris. I'm okay. Yeah. I'm better now.
No, I love Ranty Chris. I could just sit here all day and listen to this.
Yeah, well, I
you
really
should do a Raging Chris compilation.
Yeah, someone's got to put that together.
Yeah, maybe. Not me, because I'm lazy.
Not me either, because I'm also lazy. So.
Right, that's right. The right claims I hear that, and this is a great point. And I've said it. And they do that, man. They do that. The rage says the voter fraud. The right claims the left commits voter fraud as they suppress minority rights to vote. Would not surprise me if the far right, who here doesn't doubt they would remove the right to vote for people of color, black people, women. I mean, I've seen women on social media go, yeah, I don't deserve the right to vote. Women are, that's just programming in the brain.
I think, I don't know if they'd be that overt about it. What they'd probably do is they'd make conditions to vote that would make it almost impossible for anyone who wasn't your classic white man to vote.
Yeah, that's part of the deal. Now, remember, I understand to a degree, I understand the need for some form of ID to verify that you are who you say you are before you vote. I kind of get that. That's not a hard one for me. Going for like two forms of ID, and if your maiden name was this and this, and you changed your maiden name, you have to bring me proof of every change of your maiden name. For like you got married 4 times, you have to bring me proof that you changed your name every time. That's voter suppression. They're trying. Take my damn driver's license with my name that's on it, currently registered. But no, they want those guys. So that's voter suppression. They're trying to keep women from voting. Example A, and that's bullshit. I think that's bullshit. Matter of fact, I'm the guy who's sitting there going, we need to be voting with these. We need to vote with our cell phones. Yeah. We can vote. It'll take a thumbprint of our deal. That it can take a thumbprint and a face picture with our vote.
I would even think that maybe it would be conceivable if we kind of lengthened the period in which we can vote from a day or two or whatever it is to maybe a couple of weeks. If we could just do it online in an interview like this, that could be a potential thing. If they had the employees, had the employees to speak with us, that could be a real mess. I don't know. Maybe that's not really plausible. I don't know. I think the electronic voting thing is a good idea. I'm just not sure if there would be problems with that or not.
Well, I think there might be a registration. It seems to work with our bank. Our
banks work
just fine. And if it works for our money, then it's good enough for anything. It works. It's actually better than, with a mail-in vote, they don't get my thumbprint and they don't get a photograph of me. But I could do a thumbprint and a photograph of me with and an app they made with high encryption. You couldn't bless it. Jedi mind trick can't crack the encryption. They got that for banks. Let's do that for voting. But they don't want people to vote. And, mandatory voting. We need to have mandatory voting. I think we have all of October to get down and do our voting or something. So I don't think we have 1 or 2 days. We do early voting, or I'm not real sure. The wife manages all that. She tells me, come on, honey, let's go vote. It needs to be mandatory. You need to have like a day off or something. I don't know. But all this voter suppression is a bunch of bullshit. And, I say that to the Democratic Party too, because we've seen them do it. We've seen our own party do it. 2016, Bernie Sanders, and they're shutting down polling places near colleges and stuff like that. the DNC is shutting down their polling places. Remember Debbie Wasserman Schultz? Remember, we saw. Yeah, so our side is just like a mini, their side is like the big villain, the big boss at the end of the game. Our side is just like the mini boss, and it's better to live under the mini boss, apparently, than it is to live under the big boss.
Yeah.
Complete.
Just to go back, another thing that worries me about that whole Civil War issue is that Joe Biden recently said that they have a team of law enforcement officers already prepared to remove Trump from that White House if he refused to come out. They're anticipating him, if he loses, saying that there were problems and that he really actually did win and refused to go. And I don't know if he would do that or not. That seems like it would be.
He would.
I've
predicted it.
So
you know what he's going to say? I really won.
Problem, so.
He's going to say, I really won, but we can go ahead and appoint a council to recount. And then, somebody's going to have to, somebody's going to have to lord over and decide, well, did he really win or did he not win? And you know what? Trump is the guy, and the Republican douchebags are going to be the ones who choose the guy who sits over the thing and says, he won. So just like he's done everything else.
And history tells us that can happen because Al Gore won the state of Florida, and Jeb Bush, the governor there, in favor of his brother, went for a recount. And on the recount, it turned out that Al Gore actually lost the vote. So it could happen. It could very well happen. It's already happened.
Yeah. So I don't know. I predict bad things coming. It just doesn't matter. If I don't see how he could win. He's done such a horrible job. His first deal when the virus came was to sacrifice the elderly. Right? Yeah. Is that not right? Did they not go, we need to get the economy back to going, only a few elderly will die? I mean, I'm just exaggerating. I'm paraphrasing a little bit of hyperbole because that's my job, right? But we know what I'm talking about. That was when the virus thing. And then what was the most recent thing? Let's sacrifice the kids. Get them kids back in school. We got to have those kids back in school, And I've been saying they want to get this virus just to spread as thoroughly through our nation as possible. Who would want to do that? Who? Maybe perhaps Russians who were plotting to overthrow our country and who installed a Manchurian candidate type president into our presidency and who, and they also got our conservative politicians. They do. We saw it happen. It happened a few years ago.
What do you think's going to happen with Russia this time? Do you see a lot of outside influence in this thing, or how do you think it's going to go?
I saw a news article yesterday. Or this morning. I think it was yesterday. It was the FBI has stated there is no nationwide effort to stop election fraud or election meddling, outside influence. There is no being put on by the United States. None. Donald Trump is putting more effort into stopping. Now, of course, we know even the Republican Senate said, what was it last week? They agreed. They now agree that the Republican influence or Putin influenced the 2016 election in Trump's favor. We know that. Even the conservatives in the Senate have now acknowledged that. Why is he still in office? Why is he still there? We know he got right. So now look what's going on in our country. Where is he going to go from here? What's going to happen I don't know. Are we going to have a civil war? Do we have a general out there willing to step up? Now you said there was a group of policemen. Biden's got a group of police. It's going to take more than that because Trump commands the military. So
boy, would that be a fucking mess. Holy shit.
So if Trump can't get a loyal general to keep him literally physically in the office, he'll go for Betsy DeVos's brother, Blackwater's troops, because he's already used them. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Blackwater troops protecting Trump from American U.S. troops as they try to remove him from office. I would not surprise me at all.
That's an interesting scenario because if Trump loses the election, he's still the commander in chief for a couple of more months. And I mean, if he were to order the Marine Corps to surround the White House and protect it, is there somehow that could be overrode by somebody, or would that just be?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know
how that works.
I really hope that nothing like that happens. It'd be nice to see it just go nice and clean, and whatever happens, happens.
Well, during the 2016 election, there was rumblings and stuff that Trump was getting help from Russia. We kind of knew there was suspicions. Obama was investigating them. Okay. Now, Obama didn't want to cross a line and make it seem political. Exactly the thing Trump does every day, right? He literally brought the RNC into the White House. Okay. But Obama didn't want to do that. He didn't want to seem political. So he didn't up the investigation, didn't do the thing. He didn't arrest Trump and then tell the Republicans, listen, you got to find a better candidate because this guy is consorting with Russia. He didn't do that. And he should have, But now that would be Trump's saving grace. Imagine the situation we're reversing. All of a sudden, Trump had some kind of evidence that Biden and the Biden campaign and maybe anybody in there was consorting with Russia.
Put his ass in jail.
What would Trump do? No, what would Trump do? Trump would go in and arrest them. Would he not?
Yeah.
Okay. He would go in and arrest. So what's to keep Trump and the far right from just fabricating evidence and then arresting Biden and Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats that they want to arrest? You saw it here. Wait till we get closer to the election, people. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I want somebody to be going, look at this shit, you moron. Look at this. I want to be wrong.
Yeah. He didn't do it last time with Hillary because he could have pursued the whole email thing because she had committed a felony. I think that he didn't do it because he didn't have to that time. I think that he was confident that he was going to win. But this time, his confidence level is decreased. I'm looking at something now that says, if the election were held today, which was 2 days ago, the latest polls suggest this outcome in the Electoral College. 289 for Joe Biden, only 119 for Donald Trump. So he's got 1/3 the Electoral College vote that Biden has. Of course, this is just a poll, and Trump showed us last time that polls sometimes don't matter. But I forget where I was going with that.
Whenever you poll people and you get a poll and the poll, it just tells you what's going on. That poll will tell you kind of how, I guess, the people are going. If the actual election is a lot different than the polls, that may tell you that the election was rigged. And we've been saying that. We've been saying that. If you got multiple polls, we've been saying it. We've been saying it. Trump is an illegitimate president from the last time. And now he's literally doing everything he can to destroy this country. Absolutely. He's sacrificing our elderly. He's sacrificing our children for the virus. So the virus will be as rampant through our nation as possible come election time. Yeah. And also, let's stop that voting. So now we got to stop the notion of voting by mail. So they start disassembling the post office. Literally, this is what happened, people. This is what happened in democracy, our nation, the Constitution. This guy should be in prison for treason.
Last time when Trump won the election, I was shocked because I said it couldn't happen. And I realized at that moment that I would never doubt Trump again, that every time he says he's going to do something that seems like it's absurd and not achievable, he manages it every time. He doesn't lose. He always wins. So I know that he's working hard with people on things, even like you said, to fabricate something on Joe Biden. Something's going to come up here. The Trump team, don't count them out. Don't just think that they're defeated because the polls say that they don't have a chance and that they're down and they're out and that they're not going to try something unique, something inventive to rise up out of this and win, because they've got a plan. Somewhere there's going to be a plan come together for Trump. So it'll be interesting to see.
When Trump and his far-right group finally convinced, I want to say half of America even, that the people who are the victims are actually the problems, we'll start seeing atrocities. I mean, just full-blown atrocities in this country. That'll just be, it's just, and that's all happens between now and November. Actually, the atrocities will happen after November if Trump doesn't get removed from office. I've been saying that. If Trump gets again, it'll never, so we'll just hide and watch. Chris will be wrong.
Well, it's
atrocities
hard to predict
after.
these things.
Before then, though, we're going to have Trump obfuscating. I've already heard he's got lawyers in every state ready to contest the election results. Does Biden? This is things we've been saying. Is Biden ready to do that? Because that's what's going to happen. He's going to contest everything. He's going to fight tooth and nail. He's not going to leave office willingly. They're going to cheat. Yeah. So.
I don't anticipate that Biden's ready to go as tooth and nail in this thing as Trump. I'm sure that his lawyers have made a study of what happened in Florida with George Bush and Jeb and Al Gore. And if Trump loses that election, it's just going to be the very first phase in his rebuttal about why he really won. And the lawyers are going to come in, and the governors that support him are going to come in. They're not just going to accept defeat if that's what happens.
Right. I guess Uri Bench here said Russians are pushing their noses into every election in countries. There's the deal. Russians, and that's true. The Russians have got their own agenda that they've got going on. But so do we. And we've been messing in elections for a long time. Why is Iran the way Iran is? Because of us. Iran had democratically elected presidents, and we helped their religious groups overthrow that so they would sell us our oil back in the 50s. I mean, we got a long history of interfering with other people's elections. Finally, somebody out there has interfered with ours, and it's destroying our nation. It absolutely. I've said it before. I wish we could just go, man, Russia, stop, dude, stop. Stop. We give up because our ass is kicked. Look at what's going on. And look what's happened. Now, the people are going to go, look at you. You're saying Russia beat us. And long live Trump. Trump is right. You're not an American. You're not a patriot. Those are the same people who are helping defeat us. It's like the Second Amendment. Never again. That Second Amendment is out. The Second Amendment, whenever we overthrow Trump and we get our nation back, needs to be gone. And why, you say? Because it was supposed to be there to help protect us from tyrants, foreign and domestic. And whenever it came to a domestic tyrant overthrowing our nation, they sat on their hands and helped those Second Amendment beggars. They did. So out with that Second Amendment. No more. No more. Their whole deal that you get a 9mm pistol and a shotgun, and that's what you get to defend your home. There you go. You don't need an AK-47 to defend your home. You don't need a deer hunting rifle that can shoot through 3 houses to defend your home. You claim the other half of the reason for. Thank you. You claim the other half of the reason why you need that is not just so I can protect my AK-47, not just so I can protect my home, but if I need to raise up and protect us from tyrants. No, you're protecting us from people who are asking for help, and people who are asking for equality, and people who are begging to stop being killed, and you're protecting us from them. And you're citing your bootlickers is what you are. NRA bootlicker, right? So that's my whole deal. Sorry, Ranty Chris. We got all passionate on the show this morning. Just trying to passion. I don't know what happened to Christian. I guess they kicked the rat bag, nutbags kicked in his door.
Said in the chat here. He said in the chat here he had some personal matters come up, but
gotcha. Well, good.
The rage says in the chat here that he doesn't trust the polls because he thinks it's closer than that. And I tend to agree with that. It seems to me that although there have been in the media some people that supported Trump last time that have changed their mind, it seems to me that largely the people that voted for Trump last time are going to be right back out at the polls this time to do it again. So
yeah,
we shall see.
And it doesn't seem to matter why. I mean, what he does, it doesn't seem to matter. The problem that's the kind of what I was going at there is that the patriots, the people who claim to love the Constitution and love America and love our nation, are the ones who actually wanting to destroy it. They don't care about the Constitution. Trump is shitting all over our Constitution every day, and they're rooting for him. He's made the joke, and you said yourself. He doesn't really joke. Whenever he says something, it's like softening you up for what he's going to do later, right? And things like that. And this is the guy who said president for life. Whenever they did it in China, I mean, he's like president for life. He said it. It wouldn't surprise me for him to go for it. He's going to rig this election or somehow manage to stay in power. By the end of the next election, he will have completely may even do it with this one here. When he rigs this election and loses it, and yet the people rise up to overthrow him out of office, he'll take that military privilege and use military force to remain off. I mean, that'll be the last catalyst that he needed to
and the vast majority.
State. He may as we rename it. No longer call it the United States of America. Call it something else. The Fascist States of America, FSA, yay FSA, fascist states, or Trump America. Ooh.
The vast majority of our military. I'm actually Googling right now. I'm just curious what percentage of the military, which is largely white, young white males, actually support Trump. I'm just curious. I'm looking it up now.
Okay.
Because I'm wondering if he were to order the military to step in and do something illegal, I'm just wondering if there would be conflict within the military itself where it actually had a meltdown or what would happen.
Yes. Well, is there a good general out there who would step in and defend the people?
Yeah.
Well, I don't really think that we've seen that. Like we've already mentioned, the federal government has been sending they don't wear badges. They don't, and these are troops. They're not police. They're not military. They're Betsy DeVos's brother, Blackwater troops that he put in Portland, Oregon. Did we see the Portland police stop these people? Did we see the Portland County Sheriff stop these people? Did we see the Portland State Police come in and stop these armed, unmarked vehicles full of military-esque type people? Did we see them stop them? No, there was no effort by any of the military, the local police, any of that stuff to stop this private military group from abducting people in our society. I like the way you say it. It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd. This is ridiculous.
It's absurd, but it's our reality, It's
and
interesting.
They're going to haul me off one of these days. They're going to kick in my door, between the seizing, the overthrow of our government, this election, whenever they can't win and they finally just overthrow it, between that one and the next election, where they just somewhere between there and there, I will be arrested.
Hopefully they don't get me as a co-conspirator here.
I know, right? And then you watch somewhere down the road, Biden will win, everything will be back to normal. All the gay and hetero people will be dancing in the street, and the black people will be okay, and I'll be okay, and we'll all be. And there people will be going, look where you were wrong here, and look where you were wrong here. And I'll be like, you know what? I'm glad I was wrong. I'm glad I was a doomsayer and I was wrong. I'd rather be wrong than be right, especially whenever I'm talking about this stuff.
Yeah, that is true. I don't have a good feeling about it overall, but it will be fascinating to watch play out.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead.
The issue with Russia, I'll just make one point here. Russia would love to be the world's superpower because right now the United States is the world's only superpower, which means that we can actually engage in two separate wars simultaneously in different locations and still win. So I know that a lot of the world takes a look at us. They would love to see the American empire fall. China would love to see it. Russia would love to see it because it would give them a chance to step up and be the number one. Everyone wants to see us fall here. So I'm just worried about it, I guess.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a good portion of us that want to see us all. You were talking about there are conservatives out there who wouldn't normally, but they are. They're going to vote for Trump because of Biden or whatever. But you know what I see a lot of? I see a lot of this hair splitting on our side. I don't see a lot of hair splitting on their side. Again, there are a few public Republicans who are going, I'm not going to vote for Trump. Really, guys, if you're a Republican, Biden is the best Republican. He's the only Republican in the race.
Yeah.
Trump is a Tea Party man. Biden is a Republican. Bernie was a liberal, kind of thing. Anyway, so that's kind of, I forgot my train of thought. It was my turn. I forgot my train of thought.
Yeah. There's a
hate of some variety. Go ahead.
David Pakman is like a newscaster that does similar to like we do, but he's like real popular and stuff. He announces, he has his own YouTube channel that's really popular, and he even goes on the news network sometimes. He got that good with his YouTube channel, but he was talking about the fact that we need to return to just a normal level of political incompetence. You know what I mean? And that's missed at this point. With like George Bush, maybe that's a bad example because he waged that war, but we need to get back to just the normal problems with politicians. Just get back to that level because it really jacked up in an absurd way with Trump. It's so stupid, everything that's happened with him. It's almost hard to believe.
Well, they're stirring up our country so much and doing everything they can to cause these problems. They capitalize on these police shootings and stuff rather than condemning them. And then they're just stirring all this up. And whenever things blow up, that'll be the excuse they need to call for emergency powers to overthrow our elections, to just bypass our elections and to put Trump as king or permanent president of our country. This is where this is all heading. And listen to the RNC. Yeah. Listen to what's going on. That's how they're talking. Oh my goodness, things are bad out there, people. Things are bad. They're not saying it's bad because of Trump. They're saying it's bad and Trump is going to save us. And that's the whole selling point. Look what this small third of our population has been able to do. This small, very unified, very motivated third of our population has been able to do when helped with money. I mean, we don't have that on the left. We are not unified. I mean, they forced Biden on us. They forced Biden on us so they could get some of those wary Republicans. Now we've got liberals who have the absolute most to lose. I'm talking about people of color and females, black females of color who are not going to vote for Biden.
Yeah.
We don't have the kind of unity that they have on their other side.
Yeah, it's a mess. I do agree with that. It does seem as though the people that are for Trump are together, and even if the plan's fucked up, that the plan's what we've got, and there aren't different camps in the Trump camp. It's just one movement, and I agree that the left is just all over the place. A lot of debate and even hatred within the Democratic Party. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, some of us are like me. We're pissed off. I'm pissed off. You'll see me still be bitching about the 2016 election when they stole it from Bernie. I feel the Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC, Hillary Clinton all conspired to take the Democratic election from Bernie. They've admitted it. DWS stepped down. You know what I mean? There's been this whole thing about the thing. They used conservative-esque oppression tactics on us, and I'm still pissed about it. And look what happened this time. This time they give us a choice of Bernie, who's charging and exciting and energizing people, and Biden, who's not. And you look at the early primaries, there's like Bernie, this wall of Bernie people. Over here's a wall of Elizabeth people. And then there's like 5 or 6 Biden people. You know, and the more as Warren started to lose to Bernie and all this stuff, the other people, the little ones, started to drop out. You know, I don't want to say Gabbard because she was one of the last ones, but you know what I mean? All the rest of them started dropping out and throwing all their support behind who? Biden. Biden. They just really kind of shoehorned. They spent more effort getting Biden or Bernie out than they did Trump or keeping Trump out.
That's a really great point that you make, because last time when the politicians were analyzing what happened in the last election and why Hillary lost, they were saying that she just wasn't enthusiastic enough. She didn't have momentum, right? And perhaps that's the same thing going on with Joe Biden, where people aren't excited about it like they were with Bernie. There were people going door to door and all this stuff. They were excited. And the real thing that counts here with Bernie Sanders was that he was a competent person. And we have two incompetent people. One's a narcissistic maniac. The other one's one step away from being in a nursing home. And this is our political situation at the most important. This is going to be the most important one that's ever happened. And we had the chance to get Bernie Sanders in there, and we threw it out.
Now, see, here's my deal. I have not seen... Now, I saw Biden talk against Bernie during the election, the primary. But other than that, I haven't seen him talk. So I'm going to, and I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming anybody. Just I want my viewers to know, I don't want to fall for any right-wing nonsense about Biden being senile. He might miss, I want to see it for myself. I want to go watch him speak and
from
stuff
the
like
right?
that. From anybody. I don't care anybody. If he now we all misspeak. We've all said stupid things. Trump does it on a daily basis. He speaks like he's a man who snorts Ritalin for 30 plus years. Anyway, but Biden, I want to see it for myself before I start believing that. But I have to say, I did see him speak against Bernie Sanders in that primary election, and he did seem not Bernie Sanders sharp, but he did seem like he was there, and I didn't see a lot of dementia in that. Now, what I did see from him was old guard Republican. Are we going to have universal health care? We got health care. We got a pandemic flaring up right now. Biden, go. Well, no, we don't need universal health care, but if you come to the hospital and you have COVID-19, we're going to waive the bills for COVID-19. And Bernie's like, no, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. You know what? It's not good enough. There's a little old granny out there who is got a cold or the flu and she doesn't know. So she's scared. She's financially devastated. She's living on tiny amounts. She can't afford these bills, but she goes to the doctor thinking she may have COVID, and the bills just to go down there and find out is just going to wreck her. But because it's not COVID-19, you're not going to help her out. Bullshit. How many people are not going to go? They're going to literally have COVID-19, but again, because they don't have health care, because they don't know for sure that it's a bunch of shit. That was what I saw. I saw old guard Republican shit. And then after the sickness, they start dumping $6 trillion or $7 trillion into the economy now. They could have paid for health care. They could have paid for health care and education for every citizen in this country, Democrats included. And they never once said it. They never tried. Democrats have tried to give us health care. I got a brother. He's all pissed off. Every time I talk to him, he's like, man, that Obama. I mean, he's still mad at Obama because he has to have health care down in Texas. Yeah. And Texas opted out of the financial health care from the federal government. So it's his fault. His Republican governor's fault. And you know what? Had Obama and the liberals had their way, he wouldn't have paid anything for the insurance. And they finally got their way. All right, everybody has to have insurance. And the Republicans saw a way to capitalize. All right, great. You got to have insurance. Let's get those prices up. Everybody owned an insurance company. Insurance companies started making money. Just like my brother says. He's all pissed off, but at the wrong people. You know, he's pissed off at Obama for trying to give. But if Obama and the liberals had their way, he wouldn't pay anything for health care. You know? Yeah. It works in other countries. Why can't it work here?
Yeah. You know, Canada's got it going. I know there can be some downsides to that, but the upsides are so vast that it makes sense to have universal health care to actually make it a right.
Right. There are some downsides. You know, the lines in Canada are horrible. Go ask a Canadian. You know, they're not horrible. You can go anytime to your doctor. It's not like they say. The right vilifies that. But you know what? Here in Albuquerque, I had a provider, and I have to wait until the first of the year or something, November, before I can change providers. And then whenever I get that provider, I have to schedule it all out and make sure that provider has room for me. And the last time we tried that, it was going to be 9 months before I could get into a new nurse practitioner provider. The lines are here, bitches. Capitalism gave us our lines. All the things they said would happen elsewhere with socialism. Oh, socialism, your taxes are going to be high. You know what? Our taxes are high, and yet we still can't go to the doctor lest we be destroyed financially. So what if we did our money right, paid a little bit in taxes, and didn't have to worry about health care? Are doctors not rich in France? Do doctors not make a decent living? They make fine money. There's no need to go all capitalist and just milk our. But you know, our country, our nation is a nation of cows. We are being milked financially at every turn. We are being milked. Whether it's the pharmaceutical companies working with the politicians and putting money in their pocket. We're just like now we're literally cordoned off from the rest of the world like cattle. And they're just milking us, you know?
Yeah.
So, yes. Yeah. Ken Hovind tonight. Feel free to drop the links. All right, guys, I've ranted as much as I need to rant. I want to move away from the religion and politics, but I'm just you know what? I can't. The closer we get to this election and the more of what I say comes true, then the more impassioned I'm going to be, and the harder it is for me to get away. I'm trying to start that sci-fi channel so I can go do something and let my mind not worry about this stuff. But then I turn around and look at what's going on in our country. They're just disassembling mailing sorting machines because they don't want us to vote. They said it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we'll be covering it right here on the Daily Atheist.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hear you, God equals. I've got some serious hand time coming up very soon. That's kidding. I'm kidding. You guys have a wonderful day. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you to Christian Watkins for joining us today. Thank you to you, John, from Atheist Incorporated, and from Reading Funk. I didn't give you the proper introduction. Yeah, shill out your stuff for tonight.
So Yesterday on my channel, Atheist Incorporated, I put up my interview with David Fitzgerald. We had a good chat. A lot of people are enjoying that one, so go and check that out. And I'm going to be debating Kent Hovind tonight on his channel, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's Dr. Dino is the name of his channel, but if you're bored at that time, you can check in and see if I get smashed by him or if I do pretty well. So that's what I've got going.
Oh, hey there. I got, sometimes I get to top it. How'd you set that up? I heard it was hard to get things set up with Ken Hovind.
Yeah, so I emailed him and asked him if he would debate me, and he got back to me. So this was actually over a month ago because we had to schedule it out because he had a lot of stuff going. But yeah, he agreed to it, and I'm going to do it. So we'll see how I do.
Any special circumstances? You can't record it. Only he can record it. You can only do it.
Only he can record it. Well, what I wanted to do was have him come on to my channel, Atheist Incorporated, and we would do a debate that I recorded and introduced as a video. But he was not in for that. He said, won't do it. He said, if we're going to do it, you've got to come live on my channel so that he can try to make a comedy routine out of it and throw insults and whatnot. He wasn't willing to come into my territory for this thing. So I said, well, I'll come on over there and give it a shot. So yeah, it's going to be a live stream on his channel.
Okay, well, let's see how that goes. Well, as long as it's a live stream and it's not one of those situations where you go do a debate with him, he records it, and you don't get to record it, because then they get to vilify you. Like, what's the Banana Man? He's really bad about doing that, doing an interview and just chopping the hell out of it to make you look like a complete moron, And I think that's a lot of times when you do editing, you'll edit out all the ums and uhs. And it's like they go in and take out everything but the ums and uhs. So you're just there going,
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm a bad man. So that's kind of all right. So that's what you got going on. Check it out. Feel free to drop a link, man, if you got a link to drop.
All right.
And let me say goodbye to everybody over. Tomorrow's Friday. Happy Friday every day. Tomorrow, Jim Majors, I think, is going to be on the show, and The Rage is going to be on the show, and I think that's I'm not sure. I think that's what I'm going to be on the show. I know Jim Majors is supposed to be on the show. I hope he's going to be on the show, I think. I'm not sure. He's the one I'm not sure about. The Rage, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. You guys will be just as surprised as me tomorrow by what we're going to do on the show. So you have a great night, a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Ian Davenport, Cindy Plaza, and Tons of Mice. Thank you, and have a great day.